Trading the foreign exchange market carries high risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Trading on margin, utilizing leverage can carry an even higher level of risk that can lead to a complete loss of investment funds. So before deciding to trade the foreign exchange market or using any of our software alert products, you should carefully and diligently consider your personal investment objectives, level of experience, and risk tolerance. There is a possibility that you could potentially sustain significant loss. You should not invest any capital or trade that you cannot afford to lose. It is your responsibility to be aware of and understand all risks associated with foreign exchange trading and to seek professional advice from an independent certified financial advisor if you have any doubts. Auvoria Prime does not exercise trading authority over your trades. You and you alone exercise discretionary trading authority over every trade.
You're going to see the actual strategy, the time frames, the daily. You're going to see the instant entry strategy, and you're also going to see the skip a level strategy. So the two intraday strategies. Now I want to talk about the pairs, right? Because you'll see that with intraday strategies, we're actually only using these specific pairs. And you might say, well, how did you determine those pairs? Why did you determine those pairs? And when using the intraday mode in GearBox, you're essentially entering the trades immediately or pretty soon. So I'll give you an example here. We're going to pull up the manager chart to the right so we can take a look at everything at once. And what you'll see here on the manager chart, make this a little bigger, but not as big as I can go. Okay, so what you'll see on the manager chart here is, again, the precision modes entries, right? You'll see all are over here. These are all of what we call precision mode entries, where GearBox is trading behind the scenes in what we call the ghost server, and it's waiting for those precise entries. Now, when you're using intraday mode, you're actually coming, and if you're using instant entry, you're saying enter the trade right here. Basically, as soon as you're set up on the chart, take the trade once you determine which direction you want to go. If you're using skip a level, you're only actually waiting for what's known as a 21 pip movement in the market on any of these pairs before you decide to take a direction. When I say a 1 pip movement, I mean against the software, right? So the software took a trade in the ghost server and it went 21 pips against it. It's now going to deploy this trade on your actual real account on skip a level. Now, obviously, because you're entering into these pairs much sooner, there's a lot more risk, right? You look at a pair like GBP NZD, for example, you're never going to run this on intraday mode. This is how you lose all your money, right? But on precision modes, when you wait till a 6, a 7, or an 8 entry, that's an amazing trade you're about to catch a reversal on. But if you had to enter 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you're in all that drawdown, right? Because you entered all these trades, that would be a nightmare. So how we came up with the conclusion on the pairs here that we're using when it comes to the actual intraday modes is this is an actual average daily range table. This website here, Off the Beach Forex, if you actually search Forex average daily range, you'll find this website. You can actually sort year by year through, on average, how much these pairs move per day in pips. And I just gave you the example here, GBP NZD. Look at that. On average daily, it moves 196 pips in 2020. That's insane. So understanding that it makes moves like that, that's not going to be good for an intraday mode where you're looking to get in and out of trades that are going to be more low ranging, as we would say. So we came up with these pairs based on forward testing and back testing data. It's not just, oh, which ones had the lowest average daily range, because some of these pairs also move a lot still. Even though they might have had an average daily range, when they move, they still move. So we looked at other things, but this list helped us determine, based on forward testing, back testing, and looking at this data, what pairs kind of perform the best in the intraday modes and tend to respect the best signs of reversals. Now, I will tell you the one pair that's really in here that might still be a little troublesome is always going to be, your JPY pairs. But Euro JPY produces enough profit that the times when you do get into a time where you might hit some stop losses or it moves against you, it makes up for it, right? Some of the other JPY pairs, not so much. They don't make up for it. But Euro JPY, it respects it and it does very well. Typically just twice a year, you're going to probably hit some stop losses on that one, and you'll be prepared for that. It'll trend. And, I've seen it for 3 years on JPY pairs. Just when they trend, they trend. But Euro JPY tends to be still very good in intraday mode. Now, these other pairs, same concept. In intraday mode, they tend to have their average daily movements in their ranges where they're not just trending one way for long periods of time. Same thing with, you take a look at NZD CHF. So you can see some of these pairs, they were listed. Now you might ask why we didn't do Euro CHF. And if anybody, remembers 2015, that would be why. USD CAD as well, and forward testing did very good. Now, I actually forward tested USD CAD, and I'll show you guys an account that was running instant entry, and it was running USD CAD and NZD CHF, and it did great on these two. But I was running GBP USD with it, and again, we've determined based on data that GBP USD just is not typically a low ranging pair on the daily range, and it tends to still move a lot more when it trends. So GBP USD didn't do so good in intraday mode, but I do want to show you guys that. Let's go over to this original one we were running the strategy on. Now you'll see we were running GBP USD, and that's where all these stop losses happened. All the actual profit, some of it was GBP, but when we actually go to the history and we take a look, and we were to sort on this account by every loss, right? All of the stop losses hit were always GBP USD. So moral of the story, GBP USD sucked in that lineup, but NZD CHF and USD CAD, they were great in that lineup. And that's why we have that determination there. So you might be asking, well, how do I use intraday mode? It's just as simple as you set up precision with GearBox. You would just only open these pairs and use these strategies and settings. So to give you an example, we'll go over to this account, and let's say it was on precision mode. We're just going to go exit all these charts here. We might freeze up. When you try to close a lot of charts at once, it doesn't really like it. Especially if you're running two of them there we go. It's starting to close. Oh, there we go. Just keep going. It'll keep up with you. There we are. All right. So now we're just going to go back over to our list, and we'd say, okay, let's say you wanted to use the instant entry strategy. All right. Then you would decide based on your balance. If you had 1K, you're only going to use one pair. If you had 2K, you could use two pairs, and you can choose from these three. If you had 3K, you could choose any of the three pairs from the below. And that's how you would use it. Now, 0.01 per 3K, the reason I say that is even when you have three pairs at 3K, you're still going to stick to a 0.01 per $3,000 balance. Now, if you were running a larger balance, I'd say anything over, say, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, maybe even go 0.01 per 5,000 with the instant entry strategy. Now, if you're going to be using skip a level, which is going to provide you possibly more precise trade opportunities, you're going to go ahead and you're going to simply just wait out that initial 21 pip move. But because of that, you can actually open more than three pairs. You can actually open all 6 of these pairs here. And then you would only allow 3 of them to actually trade at a single time. So I'd basically scan these, and whichever ones did the 21 pips first, you're going to enter those, and it's going to block the others from taking any trades to, minimize and mitigate your risk. 1K, 3 max pairs, same concept, 0.01 per 3K. Now, smaller balances below 1K should really only trade 1 to 2 max pairs at a time, and a $500 balance, 1 max pair at the same time. Now, understand intraday mode is a more hands-on strategy. This is, a riskier decision. And the reason I say that is we'll take a look at, a calculator, for example, before we even get into setting it up. I want you to understand what's the risk, right? And what we're saying right here, based on where you're entering. So if we come over here and we were going to enter on level 0, right? So start after level 0. So skip a level. And let's say a 500 euro balance here. It doesn't take a very big move to essentially blow that account. And what I mean by that is that whatever pair you're running, only if you were using such a small balance would only have to have a 430 pip move. Now that is still a pretty large move against you that many of these pairs don't make, but has it happened sometime in the past? Absolutely, it could happen. So ideally for any software using such a small balance, I'd really recommend precision modes. But let's say even $1,000. All right, really intraday modes are better for larger balances too. So while we're here to mention it, and I'll show you why that is. And we'll take a comparison here. So this is 1,000, this is 10,000, same strategy, same settings. This is only running one max. It's showing you what one pair's data would look like. So if we wanted to multiply by 3, so in this case, what it would take to get into 75% drawdown on $1,000 account is just 3 pairs going 303 pips at the same time against you. So if you take a look at these pairs, could that happen? Possibly. Most of the time, no. But again, you can see that's where that would happen. But if we come over here and take a look at an actual larger account running the same, actually way too aggressive lot size here on this one. Let me, if this was a 10,000, we'd be running 0.03, maybe 0.04. So if we come over here on the $10,000 account, the same spot where you were getting into 25% drawdown on a $1,000 account, on a larger account, you're in 3.82%. So inherently, you can see why intraday mode is better for larger accounts compared to a smaller account. Precision modes are really the best for safety for a small account, and even for a larger account safety, but intraday modes are much safer on larger balances. And, we'll even compare, say, 5,000. So we take a look at 5,000, 20% drawdown. Okay, 601 pips. Okay, that's a starting lot size of 0.01 per 5,000, which that's perfect. But again, if you were running 3 max pairs, 20% here at 601 pips, and 60% drawdown. To blow the account, 833 pips, all 3 pairs at once, with 5,000 at a 0.01 starting lot. Okay, that's pretty precise. But like I said, this is why I'm telling you that, when you're playing with $500 to $1,000, you really should be using precision modes. It's not very safe to use small balances in intraday modes. You're inherently taking more risk, and the accounts are much more likely to have a bad day if something does trend against you. But now that we've talked about that, let's go into what it looks like to even set it up here. So we're going to open our pairs. We have Euro USD, Euro JPY, NZD CHF, USD CAD, CAD CHF, and AUD NZD. So let's just go here. And AUD NZD, Euro JPY. NZD CHF, USD CAD. Oh, we're missing Euro USD. Where are you? There it is. Perfect. And then you would just go ahead and load these all up on the daily. Just click each chart, pop on the daily here. And then we're just going to open our manager. Manager, doesn't matter what time frame it's on, but we'll go over here to our navigator. And in the navigator, see GearBox manager. You're going to add your GearBox manager. You don't have to worry about anything on here besides your lot size. So depending on your balance, in this case, I have a 12,000 euro balance. So I could go about a 0.04 starting lot size running skip a level mode. Max pairs trading at the same time, 3 is always, unless you have a smaller balance. If you have $1,000, I'd go 2. If you have 500, again, it's really risky, but you could go one. I would ideally tell you use GearBox and precision modes. But if you really want to play with intraday mode as just an extra account, remember intraday mode is meant to be used as a extra account for a more hands-on user that understands their risk and they want to get into more trades. Precision modes is for somebody that's looking to build, long-term sustainable, consistent profits and, not experience high risk. But again, I have 12,000 euros in this account. I'm going to go ahead and put 3, and then we're just going to go ahead and hit OK. And you could also adjust your risk if you wanted to, drawdown. Remember, balance protection does not close trades. This means if you hit 25% drawdown, which if we go back to our calculator here, when you hit 25% drawdown, it's not going to take another trade, right? It's going to stop taking trades and just hold the trades you have, because that's the best way to handle a trend going against you. Because if you just keep trying to stack more trades into the market, it's the quickest way to run out of margin and blow an account. So balance protection mode stops you and yourself and the software from doing things you shouldn't do, right? It's just a bad trading strategy. You get in drawdown, wait it out. You can also change your notifications. You can lower or increase these numbers, to your liking. But by default, they're pretty okay. And you're just going to hit OK now. And then now that the manager's loaded, make this full screen, and you can choose your instant entry or skip a level based on the settings you programmed in the pairs. In this case, we just set up skip a level because I'm a bigger fan of skip a level than instant entry always. Instant entry is always just a riskier decision. But for those people who like it and have used that strategy in the past, you absolutely can. But skip a level, click here. And now you see GearBox is loaded up and skip a level on all the charts. And you're good to go. Now, let me take a look at the chat here. I see some good questions. So the difference between A and B, A and B are going to be counter versus trend. So we have counter trend and then we have trend trades. But the thing you'll see, Chris, is that the sell gear A, okay, you can't see on the same currency pair a sell gear B existent. It only can allow one to exist at the same time. But essentially, see this was an Einstein trade, and it was a sell trend. So you see that A was picked up here, and A is a trend. So right now, these are considered trends. B is typically considered counter trend. So there's two different ways that the software takes trades and labels its trades. Paulo, with Einstein take profit was 30 pips. For my trading style, this was too much. Is GearBox the same? Can we customize the amount of pips we can catch in profit? Actually, you're catching more with GearBox depending how you do it. GearBox has three different take profit settings. Real trades only is just like Einstein. It's a 30 pip take profit. Real trades double TP is actually going for 60 pips, and ghost plus real is essentially depends on where you're entering. If you were using instant entry, it'd be 30 pips as well. If you were entering on a later level, it's treating the take profit as if the other earlier trades, I'll show you this so it makes sense. So ghost plus real, you just covered again. If you entered on level 0, on Einstein, you'd have a 30 pip take profit. Okay, well, if you choose real trades only in GearBox, it doesn't matter what level you enter on, your TP is going to be 30 pips. If you choose real trades double TP, it doesn't matter what trade it's in, 0, 1, 2, 3, whatever gear you enter, first trade is going to be 60 pip take profit. If you use ghost plus real trades, let's say on GBP and ZD, you enter sniper on a level 6. Well, even though these other trades don't exist, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you entered on gear 6, all right, it's going to treat the take profit that it enters on this trade as if you were in the drawdown from all these trades. Even though you're not actually in them, it's going to calculate your take profit as if it needed to get out of all these trades and make a profit and balance it out. So ghost plus real tends to be the biggest one. Real Trade's double TP can be larger than Ghost plus Real if a trend goes far against you. But Real Trade's only is always going to be the smallest TP. Now, we don't have a way to adjust it to be less than 30 pips, though. No, in GearBox, we're actually sometimes going, there's some trades. I'll give you an example. I'll have to pull up a different VPS of mine, but I'm in a nice, I believe, a GBP CAD trade on my GearBox. I entered a level 6 trade, and we were running for like 150 pips, and it's still running. We're gonna get up there, but that's a trade I'm in on GearBox. Paulo, can we customize the 21 pips, say 25 between level 0 and 1? Absolutely. It would become, so how it would work if you were using instant entry is yes, it would, and we change the calculator. You can also change that here. And you can see how that would affect your risk. Absolutely. So in the case of $1,000 account with a 25 pip starting range, entering on skip a level on, after the first pips, so entering right here, you're going to go ahead and get into 13% drawdown on one pair. If it went 248 pips, not bad. 3 pairs could do it if all of them did 361 at once still, so that's why with $1,000 account, even 2 pairs is probably better, because if you only had 2 pairs and they did this, you can stay in the game a lot longer. Now, larger accounts, concept right there. I mean, where $1,000 account is in 30% drawdown, $10,000 accounts in 4%. Will there be a pullback in USD CAD? I don't answer too many technical questions always when it comes to charts, but we can pull up TradingView here. Let's just open a new tab. Trading. And let's take a look here. I mean, if you just took a look at this chart, common sense is going to tell you there's going to be a pullback. It still says it's selling, but I mean, look at this. And I'm going to tell you, a lot of this is probably related to Canada locking down again. If you guys have been looking at politics and news, you'll see that Canada is like going into like full COVID lockdowns again. You can't even like go in restaurants. Restaurants are shutting down. So I would imagine that a lot of this has to do with that. So we're going through a mini re-COVID test of the economy, and Canada going through what we would call a poop storm, right? And definitely it's going to return steady. Canada's a strong country, and they've been falling. I mean, let's zoom out and look at this. When was the last time we were this low? And we go historically out and look at that. I mean, last time here was 17 of September. So we're probably going to retest this area. Honestly, if when I take a look at it, yeah, there's a possibility for like another 170 pips and drop before this could turn around. Now, do I see it falling through the floor and going back here to, 14, 13, 12? No, absolutely not. But taking a look here, if I was to take a look, just blind eyeing, I'm a big naked, chart guy when it comes to charts. I don't like too many things. I like to just look at a few different aspects. And for me, I see this right here. This is what stands out to me. And I would say that it's definitely possible that gets tested. Now, keep in mind, I'm no manual trading expert. I'm an algo developer for a reason. But let's see, let's get into Forex Factory and talk about the week ahead and what we have going on. So we are to take a look at the next upcoming week. What we will see, we're pretty clear Monday, Tuesday into Wednesday. Wednesday, we have CPI and core retail sales. Pretty much just red folder USD news this week, which is pretty cool. So probably going to be a pretty calm week where things don't really trend. You probably get some entries. They'll make their moves, go where they need to, but I wouldn't say that this is a week you need to worry about being extra conservative. In fact, I'm going to go, back up to 0.01 per 1K on my precision accounts and 0.01 per 3K on my intradays. Other than that, do you guys have any more questions about the intraday strategies? What is going on with those intraday strategies in comparison to, say, precision modes, or anything else that I can help get addressed for you today? I am not seeing any more questions coming through the chat. So I assume that you all feel like you understand the intraday modes, and chances are you're telling yourself, I need to make sure I have a precision account and an intraday account. I can't just choose one. The precision's your long-term baby, but again, the intraday is going to give you a little more oomph, a lot more trades for that person looking to get into some more trades and potentially see some more profit too. Obviously, your risk's a little higher, but you're also having more exposure to the market as you're in the market sooner than, say, precision mode. But again, you're getting in trades and you're potentially making more profit too in the times where precision mode is just missing trades because it's just trading in the ghost server. Jake said, did you already mention what kind of monthly returns on average it brings? Sorry if you did. No, I can't say it's going to bring you more than even, say, precision mode. I would say that they're pretty alike. Just intraday mode's going to give you more trades. A lot of people are typically wanting to see more trades sometimes. And I tell everybody, hey, it's riskier, you're not getting as accurate of an entry, meaning you have more potential for drawdown, but you also do have more potential to profit in consolidated markets. Whereas precision modes don't really perform in consolidation because there's nothing going on in the market for you to get into. Intraday modes perform massively inside of those kind of consolidated markets. Paulo, if we have 25% drawdown and want to switch to skip levels, it better to not run the software. Paulo, if you're in 25% drawdown, I'd be curious, what pairs they are, what strategy you're using, and what your balance is, and your settings and risk, as that is a kind of higher drawdown to be in right now with GearBox. So I'm curious on that, but yeah, I wouldn't switch from one strategy to another. I would continue to do what you're doing and just let it do its thing. As I mentioned, precision mode's meant to be one and intraday is meant to be another. For $500, what is the best strategy, and can you explain why? Well, I'll tell you right now, for a small balance, you're going to want to use sniper mode. And on a $500 account, really one max pair, two if you have a little more risk in you, and make sure you're using precision sniper mode. And if you really are conservative and okay with not getting a lot of trades, but only a few trades a month that are really good, super sniper mode, which is really designed for a $250 account. Now, those strategies aren't going to profit big money. Like, let me show you. Like, here's a $250 account. It's running super sniper strategy. It's only trading one max pair at a time. Well, it's made it from August to now, right? It's up 100%. It's doing 8.8% a month now. That's not going to pay your monthly membership. But if you want to just see that something works and that it can work, well, yeah, here it is. I mean, this started with $250 using super sniper mode with one max pair trading. Now for 500, I would say you're okay to do sniper mode with one max pair, or maybe super with two. But and if you want a regular sniper with two, it's just a little riskier, but it can work. But I would not recommend intraday modes for really small balances. It is just a risky decision, and you are likely to possibly lose all of your capital, right? So that's why I would say that precisions are best for small balances. If you're going to use a small balance in intraday, make sure it's a second license, and then you have a nice precision mode growing, and that this is your more high risk strategy. And if you have a larger capital to split between precision and intraday, as you saw based on the calculator and the risk parameters here, a $10,000 balance with the proper settings. And let's put this back to 21 real quick. with the proper balance, in order to even get close to blowing that account, it's not even, I mean, those pairs you're running would have to go 833 pips with no retracement all at the same time for you to even get into 66% drawdown. Whereas, you know, $1,000 account, even running one pair by itself, blew 2 times over in that same distance. So, like I said, I would not use small balances on intraday mode. It's really designed for larger capital. The only reason I would do it on a small balance is if it's a high risk strategy for you and you're okay with that. Does it make sense profit wise to have a small account, 1K to 1.5, given the limited trades and monthly fees in Sniper? Oh, absolutely. It works, right? I mean, I'll show you, you know, here's riskier accounts. I was running 6 max pairs. This is a swing account. But this account's been running. It's been doing close to 7% a month. There's a time it took a loss. If we go through 2020, all right, 14%, 15%, 11%, 17. December, it only made 5. Okay, January, it made no money. February, it actually took a loss. March, it made 4%. April did 7.4. So it's been recovering, right? You know, it had went through a period, it got into some drawdown, as you can see. But did it get out of it? Did it hold the drawdown and not blow the account? Absolutely. It did what it needed to do to be a solid strategy. It's won 76% of trades. Its profit factors over 2. Now that's swing. Then there's Sniper. It got into a little bit higher drawdown because it was running 6 max pairs as well. But you can see that this thing as well has done over 126% since June. It's won 85% of trades. It's caught 8,200 positive pips. It's only taken 210 trades. Yeah, it's not a lot. But again, had you been running, you know, 3 max pairs, your drawdown would have been a little less. And we also have the correlation filter coming, as you guys have seen, which will massively decrease drawdown and increase profit. But you can see here, you know, Sniper was performing. It was actually off in July and August. This was early testing and us making some changes. So this actually wasn't its results. You can just forget about those months, but 16, 17, 12, 20. Yeah, December was slow for it too. February was super slow. March, not so bad. April didn't do much either. But it's still making its money, doing its thing. You know, it's just, again, the markets deliver what the markets deliver. There's months where you can see it was delivering 16, 17, 12, 20%. Same strategy, same settings, nothing changed. Just the market conditions changed. We went through some different trends and political things in the market, and especially with all the elections. And that's where a lot of things started to change again, you know, as around US elections. But let's see here. And especially inauguration. That's where, ooh. But with that being said, the markets return and they go through different cycles. The key is, can you survive market cycles? So what you saw here were large trends in the market, and these were precision modes. Whereas intraday modes, I'll tell you right now, intraday modes, you know, they don't play as well in trending markets, which is again why precision is the best for smaller balances. If you have larger balances, you can use, you know, the software and have a great experience too. You know, in this case, this account's up 90%, 7.5%, only 17% drawdown, and it hasn't had a losing month. It had 8, 17, 10, 11. Had a slow February too, March slow, April kicked it, you know, did another 8.3. It's 183% of trades, you know, a little more equity, less risk. Same thing you see with the calculator for intraday mode on skip a level. 1,000's getting toasted, while 10,000's sitting in barely any drawdown with the same settings. But with that being said, I think this is probably one of the most informative intraday calls we've done so far. We're going to look to make this a resource as well in the back office based on the information I provided today. And I feel this is extremely important information for everybody who wants to use intraday modes, get set up on them, and understand why they're so powerful, but also where they fail and where precision thrives. But with that being said, I appreciate every single one of you tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.